Well, okay, so I got the recording started. This is the data mapping and gap analysis conference call with Wyandotte County, Kansas for environmental health. So before we get to the gap analysis, let's go to the data mapping, and I will share my screen. And Connie, if you don't mind, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you kind of lead this discussion. You worked on the data mapping, and you provided the documentation for it, along with I'm not sure, with all the mapping we did. I don't know which portions. I forget which portions exactly you did and Jeff did. Jeff, so if you did at any point, if you did any of this, and you need to interject anything, feel free. But Connie, I think what we need to do is first go through your template colors, make sure everybody understood that, and then if you could just let's go section by section and make sure we get all our questions answered from both ends, both on your part, if Jeff has any, and then any from the Wyandotte staff.
Okay, sounds good. Are you going to give me control of your mouse, or how did you want to do this?
Yeah, let me do that because it'd be easier than you just telling me what to navigate to. Let's see.
Okay, I think I have. Nope, not yet.
Okay, it says you have controls now.
Okay, I think that's working. Can you see my mouse moving?
Yep.
Okay. I got a frozen mouse here, though. Okay, there we go. All right, so what I did on the following pages, I explained them here on the first page, on the first sheet. How I coded this was the heading colors that are at the top of each sheet. The yellow highlighted behinds are actually your field, your table fields that you have in any notes. And the blue is what we have in our current database. That's what I had to map together. So there is questions as we move along the way, or there might be spots that are not filled with data because we don't have anything that would match up to what is currently in your system. So I also created a tab color keys, and these are down here at the bottom. The red, there's red if there's no conversion that will happen. The green, like we have here, means that there is no more information at this time that we need on our end. But unless there's something that you see may differ, go ahead and let us know. And the orange is kind of like a hazard, needs attention. So what we want to do is we want to review the yellow heading columns. We have some notes in there for the corresponding fields and such. And then this was just ours. I did ours because we had a couple out there that we need them, but it doesn't matter if you comment on them or not. So I'll go with the with the septic permits first. This one's pretty straightforward. Again, we have the yellow, which means that these are what we grabbed out of your current database. And the blue is the tables that we'll be using in the CDP storage OSS tables here to the right. And like I said, what we try to do is we try to match them as best as I can to find out where your data is at, what it's coming in, and what it contains. So the first couple are pretty straightforward here. Your parcel number is we have a PIN alpha number, address, your owner. We got the owner name. John, you're moving the mouse on me.
Yeah, you know what? Sorry, Connie. What I was thinking, should I, in case we have to refer to it, should I have the what's been uploaded to the cloud site? Should we have that open, you think?
Sure.
I had that open already, but apparently not.
There it is. That's it. I think. Oh, was that it? Oh, there it is. On cloud. So does anybody have any questions so far while John's been like moving forward with getting me onto the other data information about the setup that I did there as far as the color codes and anything?
Okay, Connie, try moving the mouse and see if you get control. Yeah, all right, you got control.
I got it.
So
I'm spinning it. Yes, I'm spinning it.
I'll let you bounce them back and forth as needed.
Okay. And then we're going to be focusing on these three here. Okay. So now back to, okay, so if we backtrack just a bit, most of these were completed. They're kind of straightforward, that what I pulled. And there is one, if we don't have something here, I want to make sure that all these are filled. And so when I move across here, if there's nothing here, well, then there's something here that corresponds with this, just like XY mapping kind of. So like I said, most of these are filled. There is one here. There's a tank that we, oh, sorry, not this one. This laterals. I'm not sure what this was. If somebody could just tell me, please, what to define it and how you use that in your current data, I could go over to the actual spreadsheet. And this is at the very bottom. And I believe it was it 40? No. Where did I get these from?
Hey, Connie, columns I and J are minimized.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Okay, yeah, something did not look right. I can't get this. Is it hidden? There we go. All right. These off of this 40s and 50s is where I got your information. This corresponds to the very first sheet that I created, that Jeff and I created, with the different data as far as your current data. Here is the laterals. I did not know what this was being used for. I had ideas, but if I could get a definition for it and what you're using it for, that would be great. So either we could use it or we would have to make some type of a talk with you about making some custom field for it or something like that.
Sure. So, this is Roland.
Roland, thank you.
Looking at the 40s and 50s tab there, Connie, that's all historical. Those were put in the 40s and 50s, and this is all data that was transferred into this tracking spreadsheet by hand from paper copies.
Okay.
And what those were, the tank was basically an indication of the gallon size of the tank, if they had that, and then the laterals would be the square footage of the entire lateral system.
Okay.
We're not necessarily using that so much anymore, and the 40s and 50s are rarely referenced, so we're really working from the 59 and on.
Okay.
And we're using this primarily just to track, if say we did a real estate transaction and the realtor wants to know if this house is possibly on septic. We
Okay.
use this primarily just to give us a quick synopsis if we have something on file for that residence and to be able to give them a quick answer. But simply because it's not on file doesn't mean it may not be on septic. It's the best that we've got, but it's full of holes, quite honestly.
Okay.
So I don't
No.
think we need to differentiate between tank and lateral, especially building it off of the template from the 40s and 50s tab.
Okay.
The 59 and on tab is the one that we use 90% of the time, or I'll even go 95% of the time, because the data in the other is so old. Those usually have been replaced, and is real questionable data to start with.
Okay. So then coming back over to the 1959 and on, now these also actually have a place then as far as column field headings or column headings then inside of this. Now let me see if I could get this shrunk down a little bit or something. Let me see if I could do a split screen here, guys. Give me just a minute to try to bring this out. All right. It works, but yet it's still kind of not like being on your own computer. Sorry. So it looks like I'm flying around here. I am. Just doesn't want to grab it. All right. Let's try to make this as easy as we can to see it, both of them at the same time, because I'm pretty sure John might have multiple screens, so I don't want it to go off on another screen. Okay, so with that information you gave me about the 59 and on, I'm assuming from the look of the data here, and again, assuming that most of these have stayed the same. Most of these are here other than your tank and your laterals that would be on here as far as title headings, or what to us they would be called field headings, or field names. What would these then be in this 1959 and on? Are they still going to be your parcel and your address, or how did that switch over? Since there's, unless I'm sitting, I don't see a header column.
Right, and I apologize for that. And this is a multi-person spreadsheet that nobody really took ownership of and did diligence on maintaining those column headings. So A is simply a permit number.
Okay, so what I'll do is I will write these down. So give me a minute as you're going through so I could do the A and the B.
I can put it in an email and email it to you if you'd like.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if you could do that, or I could type them right here. Is there anything in here that really needs to be used if I enter another column? Yeah, we could do this. Let's just do this one. Let's just do this. Yeah, that makes sense.
There you go.
Okay, so A is going to be a parcel number?
No, a permit number. B is the parcel.
Oh, this is slow. John, could you type, please? Can you take control because it's lagging?
Yep.
Okay, John's going to take control for you, Roland.
So B is a parcel. C is the year issued. That's the resident address. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, I'm pretty sure if you get into we describe whether it's a repair or a new system.
Yeah,
so it's a request type of thing?
Yeah, because some of them are full systems, some of them are repairs. Sometimes it's just a new tank, which would be a type of repair.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you've got it's just a description of the work done. I don't know how you want to capture that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a field for that, something very similar, what type of work that's being done. That's good. Okay.
And F would be whether it's residential or commercial.
Okay.
B would be the contractor
Okay.
or installer. And then H is simply the location for the link for the map. I and J, I'm not sure why they were hidden, but typically the next K, I'd have to go back and look and see if I and J have any significance on my copy that we work from, and get back to you on that one. But
Okay.
K is typically a comment field.
Now, in I and J, neither one of them, they're all blank for both
Mhm.
columns.
That doesn't surprise me at all, so we can eliminate them, I believe. But they might have been placeholders from the 40s and 50s that were used at a different time, and you copied
yeah.
the template.
Yeah, that could have been your tank and your whatever that you don't have the lateral.
Right, right. So I don't know exactly what they represent.
Okay. All right.
But that's how we're entering data now.
Okay, that's great.
If we need that tank size and the lateral field, we look at the application itself or the as-built.
Okay.
Hey, Roland, one question I have is, so based on the way you got these broken up, there should not be any replication of the address from between the 40 and 50s tab to the 59 and on tab, correct?
There may be, if they needed a repair, if they had additional work done.
Okay.
So the systems, I mean, you could have multiple entries for any given address.
Okay. So it's like a one-to-many. So one address, many repairs or systems taken care of.
Possibly, or if they didn't do the build in the time allotted, the permit, if it's a repair, the permit's good for 6 months. If they exceed that, they have to get another permit, so there'd be another number entered, and you'd have a link that would say something, see permit number such and such. So you could have a duplicate address for that. They could have had additional work done later. If it's a new build, they've got a year to do that, but sometimes they have delays and they don't get it built in a year, so they have to pull a new permit. So there's a number of situations where I know I was just at one the other day that the gentleman has done 4 generations of work for this family on 3 addresses. So there's multiple entries on those addresses.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's great. Yeah, that clears up some questions there.
One other question I had in the image location column. Now, the majority of them have the path and then the name of the PDF, but then you have some of these that have this NM.
And I'm guessing I have to anticipate who built that and what their thought logic was at the time. No media is what I'm guessing that means. So they didn't have anything to enter, and instead of leaving it blank, they put in NM. That's my best guess, but this was created 10 or 12 years ago, and the person that was doing it was trying to anticipate future use and various things, and there was a lot of learning as they went, and it didn't really get modified. So
Okay.
you'll notice everything's done in all caps for the most part, and when you try to search it, you've got to be very specific about how you search it, or be very generic. I'm not sure which works better.
Okay.
But I think no media is what the NM stands for.
Okay.
Or no map. Probably no map.
No map.
I was going to jokingly say when I asked that question, does that mean no map?
No map. Yeah. No more.
That would have been funnier on Monday, but yes.
Okay, so kind of go ahead and take back control. Those are
Okay.
I get my questions answered.
Okay, well, that's good too, because I got a lot of my questions answered there as well. So let's go back over to go on.
Sorry to interrupt again, but I did upload all of those PDFs. Did that come through? It looked like on my end that it did. I uploaded them to the website late last week. They're all in a folder, I believe, called Maps, maybe. Top of the page.
Oh, yes, they are. Yep.
Okay, so they're there for me. All right. Thank you. Wow.
Oh, that's great. Good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me go back over here. Okay, so this then, since we have the new change, I'll just have to make some changes real quick to this. Most of them are going to stay the same, except a couple will be removed. Actually, looks like they're gonna all be removed. Well, let's see that. We get another one that we could use too. Yeah, this will be just a quick change for me that you'll have vision on. Then I believe John sends it back out to you guys. And it's just gonna look exactly like we discussed on that other spreadsheet. So everything's here for SOARs. Was there any other, does it look like anything else is missing compared to what we discussed? That was the basic on that 59 and up.
Right, and I think looking at your other columns there, they had anticipation for this being more detailed, but as they used it, it was too complex to put all that in and didn't serve their needs. So I think keeping it simpler will work forward. I saw that there was bedroom, bath number, and a lot size at one point. We're not entering any of that. If you want that detail, you go to the application.
Okay. All right.
The
So these will be on the applications then.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just write that down. Sorry, I'm losing my voice for some reason. I don't know why. So your lot size, your bed and baths, and your comments are going to go into our application field.
The comment, we left that one column, K, I believe it was.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. It was K. Yep, you're right. Okay. And let's see. Okay, so yeah, I'll just have to switch around a couple things on here. And then, like I said, I'll probably get that done today or tomorrow morning, and I could give it to John, and he could send. So basically, look like this again. On my part, I don't know what we'll have to change on Jeff's. So anything else that you could think of? We're looking good here, though. So far, so good on here.
Yeah, it all looks great.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's move over to pull tracking. And again, Jeff's on the line too, so if we have any questions, we could ask Jeff. He's here. Sorry, I'm like losing my voice. I don't know what's going on here. But okay, so we got the same highlighted where yours is on the left, and we're mapping them over to mine on the blue on the right. And so this is what we have under this one under pulls. We have the unit ID number, we have a name, we have the site address. We noticed that the city is not always entered, though.
And it's really not always needed. If we have the unit number, we could include it. Most of them are going to be Kansas City, Kansas. There's very few in Edwardsville and a handful in Bonner. So it's just one of those three. A drop down might be appropriate there, but
okay. So we got a Kansas City, we got an Edwardsville, or Edwardville,
and then Bonner Springs.
Okay. All right.
We really sort them more by zip code than anything.
Okay. All right. So, well, we could do that. We could look in there, but we just didn't know because, like, if it was all, Kansas City or whatever, we could hard code that into there. But we'll see what comes up on that.
Connie, we could just take this. If we have the zip code, we just could look up those zips. I'm sure there's probably a lot of them. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But we should be able to look up the zip to actually find the city that it belongs to. There's not a.
Oh,
I don't know if
potentially, Jeff.
Potentially, yeah. There could be
more than one city in the same zip.
Right. True. That's what I was getting at too.
Okay.
Yeah. There will be some overlap, and the same zip will apply to both cities.
Okay. Okay. All right, so we got that, and then operation. Is this a for us? It would be like a, if it's seasonal, if it's open close type of thing, where you got June or end of May through end of August type of thing, where it's a seasonal flag, if it's open or not, or how is that what the operation here stands for?
I think the operation, without looking at the actual pool spreadsheet, there are seasonal pools, and those are generally just the summer months, and then we have continuous pools that are indoor pools that we differentiate the two. So it's either seasonal or continuous.
Okay, so Connie, what we'll do there is, actually you have it as type ID. So we'll set up all the needed establishment types, and then we'll select that based on. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. The establishment types we should be able to set them up so that they're basically 1-to-1 matchup. That seasonal flag, yes, no, we'll just set that onto yes for anyone that is not a continuous.
Okay. Well, where's my save? There we go. All right. Okay, we did zip code. We did multiple. Your inspector is just going to be your city inspector, correct?
Yeah, it's either right now. It's either Mike or Jim. So we just put the name in there of the inspector.
Okay. And then those will be set up through our. I don't know what is this.
I assume their login or what.
No, actually, that brings up a good question. We do need the names of anybody who's an inspector, regardless of whether it's for pools, schools, septics, because they'll get user logins, but we also need to set them up in the EHS table, because you're going to have some logins that are going to just be for like some admin people.
Yeah.
So we'll need the names of the inspectors and the names of, unless you guys may have given that information to Mike Peth already, as far as the users go. In the did he send you a site assessment form?
Not that I've received. Maria, have you gotten anything?
No, I haven't received anything.
All right, I will see if Mike has sent those out yet. If not, I'll have him send them out to you guys. And basically, what the information he's looking for is how many web application users are you going to need, and that would include both your EHS and any clerical or admin staff that are going to need to be able to get into the system, and then other things like who's going to need a mobile license. And then I think he has some, not hardware, there's some hardware specifications, not in terms of brands or anything, but, recommendations on memory size for the mobile tablets. I forget all the other information he has in there, but I'll have him get one of those forms out to you soon.
Okay. With the EHS, I do have one question. Is there an EHS number required on our system? Is there a state EHS number assigned, or can we use any numbering system?
For the pools, we put an EHS number to each water body, and I think that's the unit number.
No, Jeff's talking about for the inspector himself.
No, there's nothing corresponding to the state.
Okay, so we can just assign them 1, 2, 3, 4. Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are several states that actually have state assigned numbers. That's why I asked.
Right. We do not. Right now, I've only got 2 inspectors. There's 1 vacancy, so there'd be 3 inspectors, myself, and an admin.
Okay. Yeah, because we could set them up however you want to do that. Okay, this is good. Good information. Thank you. This is awesome. Okay, And then finally, we've got this PY 2018 permit receipt number.
What that stands for, Connie, is the pool year permit number. So right now we are in pool year 18. The pool year runs from June 1st through May 31st.
Oh, nice typing. Sorry, guys. Spelling typing. All right. So pool permit year runs from June 1st to May 31st. Currently, we're in 2018.
Correct.
So is it always behind then, like the one increment?
It's the year that the permit was issued. So there would have been,
okay.
or the first month of the pool year is always the pool year. So instead of doing a hyphen in 18, 19, that kind of thing, which it does overlap, and then so it gets a little crazy if we've got a change of ownership or a change of name and they have to pull another permit, like this time of year, if our continuous pool had to pull another permit, it would be a 2018 permit, even though we're in 19, and it would expire in 2 months or a month and a half. Well, 2 months, April and May. And then they'd have to reapply for the 2019 year.
Okay, so all your permits, regardless of when they're actually issued and they begin operating under that permit, they all expire on May 31st.
Correct.
Okay, so with that in mind, do you guys typically send out renewal notices letting everybody know that their permits are about to expire and they need to submit payment?
We're prepping for that right now.
Okay. I had a follow-up question to that and it slipped my mind. The other question. So, Roland, like you were saying, if somebody, got issued a permit today, they're going to have a permit that's going to expire in 2 months. Do you guys prorate those?
No. We have never done that, and I don't think we would start.
Okay, so if they want to operate for 2 months, they still have to pay the full year's fee.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I got those notes. All right. Okay, so this is good. All right, Jeff, did you have any questions? Are you good on this too for him?
The only thing is, speaking of fees relating to the permits, John, did we receive a fee schedule from?
You have not. In all likelihood, you have not. And if you have, we're getting ready to adjust it. So that is something we're going to have to add.
Okay, because we can set that up within our system once you get the current fee schedules.
And due to that vacancy that I'm hoping to have filled very soon, I've got a number of things that have gotten pushed around and pushed back and deprioritized and reprioritized. So it's on my to-do list.
Hey, Roland, with those being revised, are you revising are you just adjusting prices for the new year, or is it actually, are you changing any of the breakdown as to the actual?
So we've recently looked at that, and because we charge the same fee for all of our services, we've decided that we need to change that. They haven't been updated in a very long time, so we are planning to split them and charge for our seasonal pools that only get inspected twice during the 3 months that they're open. Our seasonal pools get inspected every month, so they're getting a much bigger service, so we're going to increase those fees. So we're going to delineate them where we haven't before, and have 2 sets of fees for the pools.
The reason I was asking was if there was only changes in prices, I was going to ask if you go ahead and send the fee schedules now, just so we could build it into the system, and when we get ready to start our testing, and then we can just adjust the prices once you guys have that. Right. But we'll wait.
Unfortunately, John, we're doing this across the board, so it's going to influence our septic fees, our retail food permit fees, the pool fees. So everything is going to be going up. And while we're doing that, we're looking at the services we're providing and seeing if those structures are adequate or if we need to modify those too.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Jeff, you good on this too? because we'll move over to school tracking then. Do you have any questions around, like, do you have anything that you see here that maybe on our ends that?
It all looks reasonable to me, Connie.
Okay. Okay, it's like column A to column B. That's kind of what it is. A little harder though. Looks more difficult, lover. Okay, let's go to school tracking. Okay, and this one's pretty straightforward too, I believe. So again, you're on the left here. Under the yellow, we're on the right side with the blue. And we just added this. Some of them have it, you see, and some of them don't, because these are extra, like, we know exactly what needs to be put in this right away, and kind of saved us some time to bringing it in. But these are our other fields that we're going to need to, you know, figure out what to put it. Well, we know what to put in, but we just have to make sure that these are filled as well. Okay, so school name, standard, premises name, address. Do you have any schools with 2 addresses by any chance? Because we do have an address 1 and 2. Do you know that offhand? Like, maybe they got a...
There is a possibility. The superintendent for the district might have a separate office from the physical address of the school, and sometimes they want stuff sent there as well.
Okay.
I think most of them are the physical address for
Okay.
the site.
Okay, because we do have mailing addresses, and we do have premises, and we do have, well, owner.
I can check on it.
Yeah, if you could just kind of put that one, flag that one, just to see, that would be great. And then we also, go on, Jeff.
Would we want to fill the school or the addresses to the premise address and the mail address also? Because when we mail out a permit or something, that would go to the mailing address.
That is really a bigger deal on the pools. The physical location for the pool is definitely not always the mailing address for the owner entity. So we'll definitely need 2 fields on the pools. On the schools, I don't think it's as critical. I think I could check on that, but I think it's physical address will suffice. But let me verify.
Okay.
All right, I'm just writing that in too here. Okay, so then we've got the city, which would all kind of fall into that. This all falls into one, the city, state, zip, if it's going to be premises or owner, or, you know, whatever, however that's going to fall. Phone number, kind of standard. We're going to do the, I don't know if this probably falls underneath this as well. I mean, you'd be calling the school board. Would you be calling the actual school, or would you, or like the school main office, the actual school itself? I'm sure.
Generally, it's school office, but occasionally we'll have principal numbers, or often in school inspections, we're looking at the school nurse. So we could use the comments section for some of that.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is put
Custom contact or special.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Oh no. Oh, come on. It has to do this to me in a meeting, right? Okay. All right, so that's good. So that'll help out us. Okay, so next up, group. What do you refer to as group? How is that categorized? What is the actual intention for that field, or the meaning, or the information that's in that field in the group?
Connie, do you want to grab that for reference off the cloud site?
Is it on there?
I believe what that refers to is a assignment grouping. So they were kind of looked at on a map and selected the inspection schedule based on their proximity to each other to eliminate excess travel. So they're grouped into, I believe that's what the groupings are. There's probably no more than 7 of them, if I'm guessing right.
Okay, we're going to pull this real quick.
Obviously, I'm not always the one that works in these spreadsheets.
That's okay.
So essentially, that would be like a territory.
Right. It's simply for the assignment, so they would be assigning them in these groups because they're closer together.
Okay.
Okay. We had an idea what it could be, but we just wanted to make sure, that's all. Just to clarify everything.
Does not want to open for some reason.
Really? Huh. Yeah, I don't see it.
It keeps opening up the septic. Oh, click on the septic permit. That
You might have a cell that since you've got those columns highlighted,
There you go.
Excel's not going to let you open 2 things.
there you go.
We
Okay,
have it.
got it.
Okay, so these are the, okay, so we've got 16, 17, 18, and 19, it looks like, maybe, possibly. Oh, there's a lot. Okay, well, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you were to compare the zip codes on all those, I imagine they're all very close together.
Yeah, there's like an overlap here, and yeah.
It's just a recommendation to the inspector to do them in this order because they're in proximity to each other.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want to drive all around town back and forth.
Connie,
sometimes we do, unfortunately.
Connie, I'm pretty sure we have like a jurisdiction, or I forget what exactly it's called in the database. We have a field for that though.
Okay. Yeah, that's we'll use that one. So let me go back over to my sheets here, and
Jeff, do you happen to remember what that field is called actually in the database? It's labeled different things, I think, for different clients on the actual web pages.
I'm not sure. I'm going to look it up.
I think it's jurisdiction_ID, Connie.
Yeah, I think you're right. I know, unless if that's a different one that we do, but I think, oops. All right. Got like
just note it, Connie. When we do the conversion, I'll take care of it as long as we know what it is.
There, we're gonna put that there. That's a good enough thing there, right there. Okay. Okay, so we got that one. Thank you. And then complete. Is that just a yes or no that the inspection's been done, or how does that amount out to?
Go back to the spreadsheet. I thought that was a date.
It's a date that the inspector turns it into the administrative professional for them to get entered into the spreadsheet. So essentially, it's the date they were completed.
Okay. And then the letter sent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the inspection gets reviewed, and then the letter gets printed. I have to sign them all, and then they get sent. So there's sometimes, depending on my availability, a delay.
We may have to create custom fields for those, Connie.
Okay. So I was thinking too, we could put them in the comments, but it's going to be better.
No, because they track this is something that they track specifically, so I wouldn't want to put them in the comments.
Okay. All right. So this one's we're going to save all the way up here. Okay.
I might ask that we could consider adding would be a follow-up. If there's a problem at the school and there needs to be an additional inspection or a follow-up, we might want to track that. So if there could be a checkbox, or if John, if you're saying that we couldn't follow it in comments, it would be better to if we can insert just a checkbox for follow-up, maybe.
Actually, the inspection form has you'll be able to it has exactly that, a checkbox for follow-ups. And
Perfect.
when because what we'll do is the way that typically the inspections work, if you're just doing a routine and when you finish the routine inspection, we'll calculate when the next routine should be. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go out on that date. It's just so you can see how your workloads on the schedules are going to show up. And so we'll calculate that, and that'll be based on, we set up intervals based on establishment types and programs. So if it's a once a year type deal, the next inspection date will be a year out. But if you
Right.
if you check needs a follow up, then you'll need to put in the follow up date as to when you think it's going to be. Or on the inspections, you can say if there was a violation that is causing the follow up, you can set the for each violation, you can say this needs to be corrected by, and then that triggers a follow-up date too. And that's tracked on the establishment table too. So
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, that's going to be built in, right? Are they doing forms or apps, John?
both.
Both. Okay.
Oh, forms or apps? It'll be apps.
Apps. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Not forms.
Not forms. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then, okay, so that's already in there, so I don't need to add this in here for anything. So, Jeff, do you have any questions for them? Do we have any questions that, other than what you asked already? Anything else?
No.
No?
I'm fine. On the group, the field names would be their jurisdiction ID or township ID. We'll have to see which one's used for what, but it'll be one or the other.
We'll label it accordingly so it shows up as group.
Right.
Okay, so this one's good too. All right, and Roland, what about you? Do you have anything else? Any other questions that you could think of at the moment, or?
No, I looked at everything in a head and didn't come up with anything other than what we've already covered.
Okay, good. Okay, so then what I will have to do as soon as we get this meeting done, I will refresh this area here, and then John will give it to you to send out, to review and send out to them with the school, the 59 and up, 1959 and up. So yeah, but thank you. Yeah, thanks for helping.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this, Connie, and then this will be back on the SharePoint site. Okay. And let me get rid of these other documents, then we'll go over to the gap analysis. Okay. All right, so what I did was I just listed gaps, and most of them are pretty minor, based on the different sections that we had as far as establishments, inspections, and then like within inspections, I broke it out by pools, schools, retail, food. So the first issue was, which we've already addressed this one, the complete date and letter sent date. We will create custom fields for those. And going forward, what we can do is actually that complete date going forward will be the inspection date. So you'll view that in the inspection history. The most recent inspection would basically be the complete date, and it'll show up on the establishment record as the, oh no, we don't track last inspection date, I'm sorry. You would see it in the history, but in terms of the data conversion, we'll set up custom fields to hold those. At any point, if anybody has any questions on the issues that I'm going through, feel free to stop me. Retail, food establishments, there was not going to be data conversion for this, so the only thing we could do, this one here, was look at the application, and is that the only retail?
There should be an inspection.
The inspection form. There's the inspection form is there too. So, I mean, this is pretty standard. So I didn't really see any, there's no gaps here. I'm assuming since this is blank here, that is there a list of specific violations that would be set up for the retail food?
It's in the code, so essentially, yes. I'd have to pull a completed inspection and give you an example of that, but he pulls everything from the code,
Okay.
the city ordinance.
So if you look at a completed inspection, is it going to have all of them in there, or
No, just whatever their violations were. He only writes down any violations that he finds, and whether they're corrected on the spot or if they need follow-up.
so where's that the list that if you got an inspector out doing a retail food inspection, are they referring to something with all these different codes?
Yes, he carries a printout of the city municipal code with him.
Do you guys happen to have an electronic copy of that?
Let me check. Yeah, we should.
Yeah, if we could get that, that would be great, because that'll be part of the support table setup, so that it can be. Because typically, what we do is we'll on the mobile application, we'll set them all. And I guess we'll have to see how many there are. But say if there's 50 or less, we would just set them up as a checklist of 50 items, and he can mark in compliance or out of compliance. And we can make it so that it's not required to answer all 50. He can just go and pick the ones that are out of compliance. If it's a much longer list than that, instead of having a super lengthy form, Connie, I got to take control away from you.
Go ahead. Yeah, I noticed that. I'm sorry.
Let's see. Okay. So if it's a real long list, we'll handle it more like we do in the web application, where it becomes just a drop-down list. You pick the number, and then it populates all the other information. So instead of having to see a list of 100 and so items or whatever,
right,
it would just be a blank form like this, with this field here being let's see, I guess the code reference would be the drop-down.
Right.
And then he would identify it as critical, or that could be pre-populated. And so, but in either case, we'll need an electronic copy of that, so we can set them up in tables, so that the information's there.
I'll see if I can get that uploaded and let you know when I get it done.
Okay, actually, that needs to go here. Okay. Okay, and then on the inspections, we've already talked about the retail food. On the schools inspection, let's just get that form. This again here, pretty standard. We'll need to create something to get the number of pupils. And then what I'm going to do is just take each of these items here, these check boxes, and we'll just set that as your list of, we'll call them violations, and they can be marked in or out of compliance, and then comments. So not a big issue.
On this one, I'd be very open to seeing what Lawrence Douglas is doing and keeping something in a similar form to make it easier.
Okay.
Since we're operating under the same guidance.
Okay.
Just as a thought. I mean, if they're drastically different, if it simplifies things, I'd be open to that.
Here, let me let's see. Let's do this. If I can find out where. Let's take a look at their. I think they gave us a form.
I know we're getting tight on time. I hate to take up.
If I'm, I know I'm good to stay on for, another half hour or whatever. If you guys are, if anybody needs to, I don't want to impede anybody else's time either. We can either set up a
I'm
continuation
available.
call or keep going.
I'm available. So
Okay. Let's see. So I haven't even. Oh, here it is. School. No, theirs isn't very different from yours at all. So it should be. Do you want me to email you a copy of theirs so you can look at it?
you haven't had the call with them yet, have you?
No, theirs is tomorrow.
So maybe ask them if they want to. I mean, it looks very similar. I don't know that if they want to keep theirs as rigid as that and formulate it into something that's usable on the tablets, I'm all for it. I'm not married. We just made ours up last year or the year before, so we have no long history with it. We were trying to simplify it to some extent.
You know what? Actually, these are close enough. This is close enough to yours where it's not going to even matter because all this is the same here, the top portion. This
That's what I
bottom
was thinking.
portion here, these are all going to be set up, customized to your things. The form will look exactly the same. You will be using the same form, but when we populate the checklist or the violations thing, that's all table driven. So they have some of the similar items. Their wording may be a little bit different, but it's in a sense, your inspection forms will look the same except for what appears in your checklists.
Okay.
So I don't think that's even going to be an issue. It'll be one school form that's used.
I knew we were looking for consistencies, and I was just trying to remember that this is one area that we could do that.
I mean, if you guys get together and you come up with one, like the portion that I got highlighted right now, if you come up with just one common set, we could make them exactly the same. But like I said, that part of it is customizable where it's still the same form you're going to open up, but we populate that part of it dynamically.
Why don't you go ahead and email me their PDF, and I'll
Sure.
run it past my inspectors and see if they've got any heartburn with anything. Please.
Well, certainly I'll do that as soon as we're done here. Okay. Okay. On the pools, similar situation. We'll just set up the inspection form. Let's see. I gotta sign out of here again. Okay, so again, these are all your forms are pretty standard. So we'll again just set these up. Something we'll have to do. Let me ask you this: on like A and B, where you're filling in additional information, the parts per million, and then the pH level. Did you guys ever report statistically on those type of things, or is that number just specific to that inspection?
We wouldn't report on them for any data analysis. It's that water chemistry can fluctuate by the hour, so it's got to be in a range, and you could literally take it every hour and it would be different.
Okay. So at no point you'd want to see like all inspections that had pH below 7.2 or anything?
Not necessarily. It generally, if it's on the borders of the range, the inspector's gonna note that, and if there's need for follow-up,
Okay. All right.
or
Well,
he may talk to the maintenance individual and make suggestions on the spot if they're attended there.
okay. In that case, then we may have that just go to comments. And once we start getting this set up, I will provide screenshots. And we have we're going to be taking a walkthrough. I don't know did we set a date for that? We're waiting on you to get your person in place.
I'm interviewing on Monday.
And
I don't remember that we discussed the date.
no, we haven't set one up yet. I'll go back to my notes. I think we just said tentatively, maybe like second week of May or something. But what we'll do is when we take a walkthrough, I'll show you how this can be set up. We'll go take a walk through both IMS and mobile. And then, so if like issues like that, if they come up, we can address them then. Okay, so that was a pool inspection. On the retail food, again, looking at those, there were no gaps identified on those. In the complaints form, everything that was there, we have in the system. It's available. I think this line 18, I think that was an extra, that I don't know where that came from. I was following the template that they used on the Easy ERMX side of things, and I think I might have not deleted that. I'll take that out of there. The real estate form for real estate transaction. Oh, I think that's how that ended up in there. Actually, you know what? That's what it is. Okay. The application for inspection real estate. So there was two different forms here. Are these two forms here, are these both the same thing? Application for inspection real estate transaction.
It looks like they could be. I don't remember what I uploaded offhand.
All right, so that's one. That's the one with the CDP at the end of the name. And this one here. Yeah, they look to be the same form.
Oh, I think one you can fill out online. The one that's highlighted, I'm guessing, is an interactive that can be filled out online, and the other is just our hard copy that we built it from.
Oh, okay. Now, who can fill this out online? Are you talking about health department staff or the public?
The public.
Okay, because that we don't have in our system yet. So,
But I think it's from our website. So I don't know that we get many of them doing that.
The whole, like a public portal for submitting basically exactly things like this, applications and even complaints. That is on our radar for this year. I don't have a target date. We're still addressing. This is going to be our first. It'll be the first public portal that we've done to where somebody outside the health department will be able to log in and submit things. So we're working through the server security issues first with our IT folks. And once we get that resolved, then it's going to go into design and development. So we should be actively working on this probably in the next 2 months. So eventually it will be there. But right now we don't have a public portal for that.
Ours is not a portal by any means. It's simply the Adobe form that they can type into it rather than us trying to interpret their handwriting. So
Okay.
it's simply that they fill it out and then print it rather than printing it and handwriting it.
Okay.
It's not an actual portal for us to deal with the digital submittal.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay. So okay, now this other one here. So there was the application, and then there was, let's see, which one was, is it this one? Let's see here.
So that's essentially for a realtor that's asked us to come out and assess the functionality of their septic system on the home.
Okay. All right, so this is basically, all right, so that we'll handle this in our request for service, which was what I was thinking. Now on there, there may be some fields on there that, is there any data to convert for this one?
No.
Okay.
My knowledge, those forms are turned over for that service. I don't think we've kept, I haven't found any history of that, so there's no data conversion at this time.
Okay. So what I'll have to do then is, using the form, I'll just have to identify if we have a place for everything to go. If not, we may have to set up some custom fields or possibly create some columns on the database. But that's not that big of an ordeal. And then we'll need to create a report in a similar type format for that, for the real estate transaction. Let's see. So moving on to septic and wells. Let's see. So the sewage inspection report. Let me get that one. Where?
Down, right, up, 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 up. You just passed it. It's EH for environmental health.
Oh, there it is. The EH in front of it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So again, this one here, since there's no data, we're not converting for this, correct? Also, which is what was on that septics tab that Connie had.
So some of the maps, the newer ones, there may be, this may get scanned because it'll have a hand drawing on the bottom portion for the as-built. This is the final inspection form, but none of that data would be converted into the program. It would just be looked at from the scanned version.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll attach the scanned versions then as attachments, and they'll be attached to the property, so that'd be fine. So this is going to just be another case then of me making sure that we, on your inspection form here, we have all those fields accounted for on our inspection form.
Yes.
Okay. Application for construction form. I believe this is going to be a similar situation.
That's the first step. Yes. So that's what they're proposing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and we have, I think, basically all of this information on the application. There might be a couple things that we're missing. I know in particular, I think this one here, we didn't have anything exactly for it, but we can take care of that. Application for waste hauler. Okay. I know what I did. That one where we had the two different versions of the forms, the one with the yellow, that was the one that I had highlighting the fields that weren't there. So on this one here, if I look at the one with the CDP on it, and these are more notes for myself. These are the fields that I'll just have. I gotta confirm that I'm 99% sure we don't have this.
I'm
but we can
Yeah, I
just
see it
add them in.
now. Okay.
I think the same thing with the waste hauler. Yeah, okay, so again here, I didn't highlight this one yet, but what I will do is I'll do the same thing there, and again, it's just making sure that we have all these fields accounted for. Now, obviously, we're going to have all of this will be good. Good through there. This is where we'll have to add probably some custom fields for it. And then the rest of this we all have. Let's see here. Okay, then on the AR, you guys are going to send us your fees once you have the revisions done.
Yep.
And if that ends up taking longer, then we're not in a big hurry for it. But if we get to a point where we need to do some testing, we can just set up some test records, some test fees, create our own schedule, and then just insert your codes when the time comes. Not a big deal. And then below here, this was just the list of the forms that we'll have to see. We'll have to compare what we have currently in the system, show you guys copies of those, and see which ones we'll have to customize, possibly a little bit. They even have in here like the logos and stuff, but that's just for our Crystal developers, for his knowledge, because he'll have to. What we do is we take the logos, we store them out on the server, and then we put the path for those logos out on the county record. So for each county, the individual logos will show up. But like these here, these are all the same issue that we just went over. And the permits, those are always customized regardless of who it is, because everybody has their own permit form. One question on the permits: do you guys print them on? Let me take a look at one of them. Pool permit. Okay, do you guys print them on any on pre-printed forms with like fancy borders or anything, or is this
No, that's it. We
Okay.
want to make it an electronic email if we can. If that doesn't work, then we'll print them for them and mail them.
Okay.
But we tried that at one point, and it got to the point where we couldn't keep that consistent on availability of the border paper and whatnot. So
Okay.
we simplified it.
Is that true across the board for all permits then? That they're
Some of them are printed by a printing company for like the I don't know if I even sent you a copy. I need to upload that probably. Is there a copy of a septic permit? I may have missed that one. Got the database there, but I don't see.
Inspection report. No, I don't see the permit.
I need to upload that. I've got 500 of them sitting here on my desk.
Well, one will do.
Thanks. They're printed in duplicate, so because they're handwritten, so they get a copy and we get a copy of the signed version, and that's why I missed it, because that's the only one that's printed in that manner. All the others are out of a receipt book, so the retail food permit master I think you had that open a second ago.
Yeah.
That's nothing special.
Yeah, I mean, the ones I've seen here are, as long as they don't have the fancy border and stuff going around them and everything, it's not a problem.
It's all fairly generic.
Okay. Let's see, and data conversion. Oh, we already discussed that when Connie was going over the data mapping. So that's it, basically. I think there's just a few things that we need to get uploaded, and I think all our questions were answered, and we're pretty much ready to start with converting your data over and getting things set up to go.
Great.
So that takes care of all my questions. Does anybody else, first from Wyandotte, does anybody got any questions?
So just one question. Earlier we had there's some mention of like the IT specifications for this piece of it. So I would imagine that's going to be the same like for Easy EMRX, correct?
With Easy RMX, do you get? And pardon my ignorance on this, but I haven't worked with that product at all. But is that? Do you guys have? You don't do that mobile, do you? Is that all web based?
Correct. We don't do mobile or anything.
Okay.
Because I'm doing an inventory, and I could easily just add on if we need PCs for and Roland, this is for you. I could easily add on the computers on my end for purchase. What we found were our computers were extremely antiquated and not suitable to run what we needed to do. So if we need to, so if it's, I'm presuming it's the same specifications, and I can just add on those. Roland, if you want new computers, I'll just add it to my list.
Okay, I can talk to you about that.
There might be a few more specifications though that you'll need to consider for the mobile product.
Okay.
If you're going to go with Windows tablets like a Surface Pro or something, those have to be Windows 10.
Okay.
If you're going with iPads, I think just whatever the current iOS is for it. But that information should be in that site assessment form that I'm going to have Mike send to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was questioning that, John, and I know I'd asked the question in the past. You said it was we're currently using some Galaxy tablets, and you said you hadn't ever tried them on Android, but they are theoretically operable on.
Yes, because the software that we're using to design our mobile product with, they recently. It used to be strictly a Windows product, a Windows designer. We are now and we're currently migrating all our current users off of this Windows Forms based to the new app, which is you create one application and it's deployable to Windows iPads and Androids. But we can get that all tested out. We don't have any live users that are using any type of Androids yet. So we'll just need to get that tested out. But yeah, it's supposed to be the deployment to Androids is there.
I would also be interested in what Douglas County is going to do. I think they're using iPads now, but I don't know what their plan is to move forward. But if we are considering any combination on support or looking to them to help with issues they may have had or we may have, we might want to stay with the same tablet type. Is just a thought.
Okay.
So I'd be interested to know what you find out from them tomorrow.
I'll definitely be sure to let you know. I got that written down as there's actually two questions. Well, I'm going to send you their school form, but I'm going to ask them also if they want to look at consolidating or combining or rewording, however, to come up with one. And then I'll ask them about their plans for mobile hardware. Now, currently, what we're seeing with our users that are using the new mobile product, it seems like iPad is the majority, but not by much. So we've had plenty of people using the Surface, the Microsoft Surface, but a lot of them are switching to iPads. And but like I said, I'll confirm the Android portion of it. We can get that tested out in the office just to make sure But that won't be an issue.
Hey, John.
Thank you.
This is Tom from TDP. We have done some in-house testing on Android, so we know it's at least a viable option from that perspective.
Oh, okay.
I've done it in my phone. If I was sitting around, I didn't have an iPad in front of me. If I was at home or somewhere, I've put it on my phone and used my phone to do things. And my phone is just a standard Android.
And this is Connie, and I have the Edge, the Samsung Edge 8 Plus. It was last year's, or 9 Plus. It was last year's model, and I'm able to use the My Apps product with it as well.
Okay, so
Testing.
Galaxy tablets won't be a problem. Okay, anybody else? Again, first from Wyandotte, just throw back out there. No? Okay. Anybody from CDP, any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, once Connie gets the data mapping document updated, I'll send out. There was a couple minor changes to the gap analysis here that I typed in as we were going. I'll get you guys another copy of those as well, just to keep everybody on the same page. Roland, you're going to get me a fee schedule when it's available, and you are also going to look at getting an electronic copy of the, was it the
Food code.
Yes, the retail food code. And hey, Roland, on that issue, let me ask you this: for retail food, is it the same? Is it a different set of codes for retail food that it is for, say, like a restaurant?
It's similar. I don't know that it's the exact same section because we don't do restaurants anymore, so I haven't really compared them to know that answer for sure.
Okay. The only reason I'm asking is because if it is, and it was one of the FDA code sections, we probably already have it. But just if you could send what you have, then we'll take it from there. See, so the fee schedule, the food code. I will ask Lawrence Douglas tomorrow about school reports and hardware. Image has been uploaded, and there was one other thing, Roland, that you said you were going to upload for. Was it one of the permit forms?
A blank septic permit form, and then I've also got to check on the
septic.
school address.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. All right, then. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and wrap up. And thanks, everybody, for calling in, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye, guys.
Thank you.